I'm at the spa, my mom replied after my car wreck. I then revoked the $504,000 I'd quietly provided. Grandpa modified his will 36 hours on. Can you imagine waking up in a hospital bed, broken and terrified, only to have your own mother refuse to help with your 8-week-old baby because she was at the spa? And then, 36 hours later, finding out my grandfather secretly changed his entire will because of it? This isn't just a story. It's what happened to me, Lauren Bennett, when my life shattered and rebuilt itself in the most unexpected ways. It all started 4 weeks ago. I'm 30 years old, and one moment I was driving, the next I woke up in a hospital bed with a fractured collarbone for broken ribs and a concussion so severe they were worried about brain bleeding. My Honda was totaled. A delivery truck, doing 55 miles per hour, just blew through a red light and T-boned me on the driver's side. My car spun across 4 lanes. All I remember is the screech of metal, the airbag exploding, and then just blackness until the distant wail of sirens. When I finally came to in the ambulance, my first words weren't about my pain, but about Mia, my 8-week-old daughter. "Hi, baby," I mumbled through the breathing mask, 8 weeks old, at home with a neighbor. "Need someone?" The paramedic, a kind woman in her 50s, squeezed my hand. "We'll help you figure it out. Stay calm." But how could I? Mia was exclusively breastfed, never taken a bottle. My neighbor, Mrs. Liu, was 72 and had only agreed to watch Mia for my 25-minute grocery store run. It had been 55 minutes, and I was heading to the ER, not home. With shaky hands and foggy vision, I called my mom from the ambulance. She answered on the 3rd ring. "Lauren, I'm at the spa." My voice cracked. "Mom, I've been in a car accident. A bad one. I'm in an ambulance. Mia's at home with Mrs. Liu. Can you please go get her?" And then she let out this huge sigh, the kind she always did when I inconvenienced her. "Lauren, are you sure it's really serious? You know how dramatic you are." I could hear spa music, flowing water, champagne glasses clinking in the background. My sister, Samantha, giggled in the distance. "Mom, my car is totaled. I have a head injury. They're taking me to County General. Please, I just need you to get Mia." "County General? That's 90 minutes away from me. I'm getting a seaweed wrap right now. Can't your hubby handle it?" "Daniel is in Dallas for work. He won't land for another 4 hours. Mom, please. She's 8 weeks old. She needs." Then I heard muffled chatter and my sister's voice again. Mom got back on the line, her voice sharp. "Lauren, your sister, and I leave tomorrow morning for our Caribbean cruise. We have the pre-cruise spa package today. It's already paid for." My head was throbbing. Every word felt like it drained me. "Mom, this is an emergency. Your granddaughter needs." "Your sister never has these emergencies, Lauren. Samantha has 2 children, and she's never called me in a panic over a car accident or a catastrophe. You need to be more organized and accountable." Something in my chest snapped, and it wasn't just my fractured ribs. "I didn't plan to get hit by a truck, Mom." "Well, you should have backup plans. This is what responsible parents do. I can't just drop everything whenever you have a problem. We've been planning this cruise for 8 months. The ambulance hit a pothole and pain erupted across my torso. I gasped. "Are you actually listening to me?" she added. "This is exactly why I'm concerned about you. Always in chaos and in need of rescuing. I raised you to be independent, but you still call mother whenever something goes wrong." The paramedic watched me with genuine concern. She could hear every word. "I'm not asking you to cancel your cruise," I insisted, forcing the words out. "Just to watch Mia for a few hours until I can arrange something else. Please." "Lauren, I'm getting on a ship tomorrow. I need to pack. I need to prepare. Your father and I both deserve this vacation. We've worked hard our entire lives. We will not let your poor planning mar our trip." "My lousy planning." My voice cracked. "Mom, I was hit by a truck. And I'm sure you're okay. You're chatting, right? You're always overly theatrical about medical issues. Remember when you thought you had appendicitis, but it was just gas? Or when you thought you had pneumonia, but it was just a cold? I closed my eyes. The memories ached differently now. She was dismissive then, too. I was annoyed I'd even bothered her. This is different. You said they were all different. Look, I need to go. My shawl is getting cold. Call a friend or hire a babysitter. Don't you make excellent money? Problem solved. The call went dead. I stared at my damaged phone screen. My mother's contact photo smiling back at me. It was from last Christmas, holding Mia, her first grandchild, beaming proudly. I had expected things to change when Mia was born, that becoming a grandma would soften her. I was so wrong. The paramedic gently stroked my arm. Do you have anyone else you could call? I scanned my contacts with shaky fingers. Rachel, my best friend, was in Seattle. Daniel's parents were in Arizona. Mrs. Liu couldn't handle a newborn for more than an hour. Then I found it. 8 months ago, while pregnant, I'd tucked away a business card, Elite Newborn Care and 365 emergency services. With the paramedics' help, I called. Elite Newborn Care. This is Karen. A calm voice responded promptly. I need assistance, I stammered. I'm in an ambulance. Car accident. My 8-week-old daughter is at home with an elderly neighbor who can't care for her long-term. I need someone now. Someone capable of caring for an exclusively breastfed infant. Someone who can stay as long as necessary. We can get someone to you within 50 minutes. Where is the baby now? I gave her Mrs. Liu's address. Karen's questions were calm, professional. Does Mia have any medical issues? Are there supplies? What's your hospital destination? Our specialist, Emily, will be there in 45 minutes. She's a registered nurse with 18 years of neonatal care expertise. She'll coordinate with the hospital for pumped milk if you're able, or will provide formula if necessary. Do not worry about anything. We have your daughter. How much will it cost? I asked. Our emergency rate is $85 per hour with a 5-hour minimum. But for now, you need to focus on your medical attention. We will manage the rest. I nearly cried. Someone was actually helping me. No judgment, no guilt, just help. Thank you, I muttered. You're welcome, Mama. We'll care for her like she's our own. That year was a blur of doctors, nurses, beeping machines, and bright lights that made my head pound. Pain meds kept everything hazy, but one thought remained crystal clear. My mother refused to help her granddaughter. My phone rang as they were sewing up a cut on my forehead. It was Daniel. Sweetie, oh my God, I just landed and saw your messages. Are you okay? Is Mia okay? I told him everything. The accident, Mom's refusal, the care service. Your mother said no? His voice rose. She refused to watch her own grandchild during a medical emergency? She has a cruise tomorrow? I don't give a damn if Hillary meets with the Pope. You were in a car accident. He took a breath. I'm coming back right now. I'll be there in 2.5 hours. What about your presentation? Screw the presentation. My wife is in the hospital. That's when I started crying. Not from pain or anxiety, but because Daniel's instant response showed me what a real family should be, and it made my mother's rejection sting even more. After being admitted for overnight observation, I did something I'd been contemplating since the ambulance ride, something I'd been too scared to do for 10 years. I opened my banking app, went to automatic payments. There it was, the transfer I started when I was 19. When I got my first professional job after college, my parents hinted they were struggling with their mortgage because Dad's hours had been cut. It was $4,200 per month for 120 months. I never told them it was me. The funds went to a separate account I set up, then automatically to their mortgage company. They thought Dad's pension had grown or Mom's part-time bookkeeping earned more. They never asked questions. They just reveled in their financial security. That $4,200 paid their entire mortgage, leaving extra for their car. It's how they afforded spa days, Caribbean cruises, shopping sprees with my sister. It's how Dad retired at 63 instead of 67. $4,200 times 120 months. That's over $500,000. I had paid $504,000 to keep my parents comfortable. Yet my mother couldn't spare 2.5 hours to hold her granddaughter while I was in the hospital. I canceled the automatic payment. Then I did something else. I opened a new savings account, called it Mia's Future. I set up the same automatic transfer, this time to my daughter's account, for $1,200 per month. My mother couldn't bring herself to help her daughter. My finger hovered over the confirm button for just a second. Then I pushed it. A nurse came in to check my vitals. "You're looking better," she commented. "Color's back in your face." "I just made a decision I should have made years ago," I said. She smiled. "Those are usually the best kind." Around 7:30 p.m. there was a knock. I expected Daniel, but instead a tall man in his 70s walked in. Gray hair, bright blue eyes, a cardigan despite the California heat. Grandpa, my mother's father, the man who taught me to fish, paid for my college textbooks when money was tight, and gave me $200 every birthday, long after I was an adult. "Grandpa!" I tried to sit up, wincing. "How did you?" "Mrs. Liu called me," he said, drawing a chair closer. "Said you were in an accident, and my daughter refused to help with the baby. She claimed she overheard your phone call when she stopped by to get Mia earlier." Emily, the care specialist, had met me at Mrs. Liu's, and the paramedic had already transported me to the hospital. Mrs. Liu had been appalled. "Grandpa, I'm fine. Mia has a professional caretaker. Everything's—" "Stop," he said, his voice kind but forceful. "Don't do that. Don't minimize what happened." He sat in silence for a bit, just looking at me. Then he added, "Your grandmother and I paid for that cruise." I blinked. "What?" "Your mother has been talking about this Caribbean cruise for months. We paid for it. I bought it for her and your father's anniversary. $14,500 for the premium package." He shook his head. "I thought we were giving them a lovely gift. I didn't realize we were paying their justification to abandon their daughter and grandchild. Grandpa, you didn't know. I called your mother an hour ago." His tone sharpened. "I told her I knew what she did. Do you know what she said?" I waited. "She said you were being dramatic, that you were fine, that you'd always been too dependent and needed to learn to handle things yourself." He leaned forward. Then she added, "Mia isn't even my responsibility. Lauren decided to have a kid. She has to deal with the repercussions." The words struck me like a second collision. "Consequences." I repeated. "She called my daughter a consequence." That's when I told her the cruise was cancelled. My eyes widened. "What?" "I called the cruise line. I cancelled the booking. As the buyer, I have that right. They're refunding the money to my credit card." He smiled, but there was no warmth to it. "Your mother and father will not be going on any cruise tomorrow." "Grandpa, you didn't have to." "Yes, I did." He reached over and carefully took my hand, avoiding my fore. "Lauren, I need to tell you something. Before she died, your grandmother made me pledge to look out for you. Said she was concerned about how your mother handled you differently than Samantha. I thought she was seeing things that weren't there. Grandmothers can be protective, but I've been watching for years. I've seen the patterns. The way your sister is praised for the same things you are criticized for. The way your accomplishments are overlooked while hers are lauded. The way you're always expected to be understanding while she's free to be selfish. It's just how Mom is," I said softly. "That is how you have let her be. How we all let her be." He squeezed my hand. "Not anymore. Not after this." There was another knock. This time it was Daniel, still in his conference suit, carrying flowers, looking frantic. When he saw me, his expression collapsed in relief. "I'm fine," I said, as he gently kissed my forehead. "We're okay." Grandfather stood up. "I'll give you both some solitude. But Lauren, before I leave, is there anything else I should know?" anything else happened. I paused. Then I told him about the $4,200 monthly payments, the 10 years of financial support, and how I'd just canceled them. Grandpa's face became very still. You've been paying their mortgage and car payment. I set it up when I was 19. They had no idea it was me. $4,200 per month for 10 years. He did the math quickly. That's nearly $500,000. $504,000, I confirmed. Daniel stared at me. You never told me. I didn't tell anyone. I just offered assistance as needed. So I did. Grandpa was quiet for a long time. Then he asked, did they ever thank you? Have they ever acknowledged the help they received? They had no idea it was me, I explained. But they knew their financial situation had improved significantly. They realized they had extra money every month. Have they ever questioned it? Ever wondered? Ever wondered if they should be more cautious with money that appears out of nowhere? I'd never considered it that way. They just spent it, I said carefully, on cruises and shopping and spa days, and helping Samantha with her down payment. I paused. They used my money to help Samantha buy her house. When you were involved in a car accident with an 8-week-old baby, your mother couldn't spare 2.5 hours. Grandpa's voice was icy. She took your money for 10 years and couldn't give you 2.5 hours. He pulled out his phone. I'm making a call. You rest. He stepped into the hallway, but I could hear his voice through the door. Hi, Evelyn. It's Dad. No, I'm not talking about the cruise again. I'm calling about something else. Something I just learned. Pause. Did you know that Lauren has been paying your mortgage for 10 years? Silence. Then Grandpa's voice stronger. $4,200 per month. The total amount is $504,000. Evelyn, your daughter, the one you called dramatic today, the one you refused to help, has been keeping you financially afloat since she was 19 years old. Another pause. She canceled the payments this afternoon from her hospital bed after you abandoned her and your granddaughter. I could hear my mother's shrill voice now, even over the phone. Grandpa let her speak for a moment. Then he spoke the words that changed everything. You have 36 hours to make things right, Evelyn. 36 hours to apologize to your daughter, meet your granddaughter properly, and express even a fraction of the gratitude and love she deserves. If you don't, I'll change my will. Everything I plan to leave you, the house in Pasadena, the stocks, the savings bonds, all of it goes to Lauren and Mia instead. More shouting from the phone. I'm not kidding. I've already contacted Robert Klein, my attorney. He'll draft the changes tomorrow morning. Do you think I'm going to leave my estate to someone who treats their own daughter as garbage? Who describes their granddaughter as a consequence? His voice lowered. Your mother would be ashamed of you. I know I am. He hung up. Daniel and I sat in stunned silence. Grandpa walked back in, looking 10 years older but more determined. That woman is my daughter and I adore her. But love does not imply accepting unacceptable behavior. Your grandmother taught me that. Grandpa, your will, you don't have to. It's already done in my head. Whether she apologizes or not, you'll receive the majority. But I'm giving her 36 hours because your grandma would want me to give her daughter the opportunity to do the right thing. He kissed my forehead. Take some rest. I'm going to meet my great-granddaughter. Daniel, text me the address of that care service. After he left, Daniel carefully climbed into the hospital bed next to me, clutching me like I was made of glass. $500,000, he muttered. Babe, we could have paid off our house. I know. We could have started Mia's college fund years ago. I know. Why didn't you tell me? I remained quiet for a long time, because then I'd have to admit something I already knew, that I was paying for love when it should have been free, that I was purchasing my parents' approval, that no amount of money I gave them would be enough to make them treat me the same way they treat Samantha. He gripped me tightly. I'm sorry, he replied. For what? for not noticing it sooner, for failing to protect you from them. You did protect me. You flew home from Dallas in the middle of your most important presentation of the year. That's fundamental human decency, Beck. That's the bare minimum. Exactly, I commented, and my mother couldn't even manage that. My phone began ringing at 9:45 p.m. I declined the call. She called again. Declined. Then the text started coming in. Lauren, we need to discuss this. Misunderstanding. Your grandfather is being totally unreasonable. I never said I wouldn't help. You didn't give me an opportunity to explain. You're tearing this family apart over a simple misunderstanding. I blocked that number. Then my sister called. What the heck have you done? Samantha's tone was caustic. Mom is hysterical. The cruise is canceled. Grandpa has threatened to cut her out of the will. All because you got a fender bender, and Mom couldn't drop everything right away. There was no fender bender. I have 4 broken ribs and a fractured collarbone. You're obviously fine enough to cause family drama. Do you know how much Mom was looking forward to the cruise? Do you realize how hard she has worked? Worked. I nearly laughed. Samantha, I have been paying their mortgage for 10 years. For $1,200 per month. That is how Mom can afford not to work. This is how Dad retired early. That's how they assisted you with your down payment. Silence. You're lying. Check with Grandpa. Or better still, ask Mom. Ask her where she thought the extra $4,200 per month came from over the last 10 years. Even if that's true, it is true. It does not grant you the right to manipulate Grandpa. He is elderly. He is not thinking clearly. He thinks more clearly than anyone. He sees exactly what Mom, you and I are. Her voice increased. I'm not the one blackmailing my own mother with Grandpa's inheritance. No, you are the one who receives everything while I pay for it. The golden child who can't go wrong, but I'm always the issue. I took a breath. I am done, Samantha. I'm finished paying for your lifestyle. I'm done being the family's ATM. I'm tired of accepting scraps of attention while you're celebrated for simply existing. You're acting insane. Mom loves you. Mom tolerates me as long as I am useful. Today I found out how much my usefulness is worth. 2.5 hours. She could not give me 2.5 hours for her grandchild. She had plans. I suffered a head injury. Samantha was quiet for a minute. Then you know what? Fine. Keep Grandpa's money. Keep your victim mindset. But don't expect me to feel sorry for you if you end up alone because you drove everyone away. She hung up. Daniel had been listening to the entire talk. Are you okay? Actually, yeah. And I meant it. For the first time in a long time, I felt like I could breathe. The following morning, I was discharged with strict instructions to rest for 3 weeks. Daniel brought Mia to the hospital, and I held my baby for the first time since the accident. She was perfect, healthy, and hungry. Emily, the care specialist, did an excellent job. She had meticulous records of feeding times, diaper changes, and sleeping patterns. She'd even pumped and saved the breast milk the hospital helped me express. You have a beautiful daughter, Emily said as she packed her belongings. And you are a strong mama. Not many ladies could make the calls you did while in an ambulance. It got home to flowers. Dozens of bouquets from friends, Daniel's coworkers, neighbors, with messages wishing me a swift recovery. Nothing from my parents, nothing from my sister. But there was something from Grandpa. A huge box containing a note for Mia. For Mia's future, because she deserves grandparents who put her first. Love, Grandpa Henry. Inside were savings bonds, $60,000 worth. I cried. The 36-hour deadline passed. Nobody apologized. No phone call. No text. Grandpa's attorney called the next day to confirm that the will had been modified. Lauren and Mia Bennett were now the main beneficiaries. My mother would receive $15,000, enough for a lovely trip, but not enough to sustain the lifestyle my money had provided. 3 weeks after the accident, my mother's mortgage payment bounced. Then their car payment. I know, because she called from a number I hadn't blocked yet. Lauren, there's an error with our mortgage. The payment didn't go through. Can you verify your end? I took a deep breath. There is no mistake, Mom. I canceled the payments. I got help. Thank you for being there when my own mother couldn't. She smiled sadly. Family is who shows up. Remember that. What? Why would you? She paused. Wait, was that you? Since I was 19, you've been sending me money every month. But we thought your father's pension was barely enough to cover your utilities. I covered everything else for 10 years. Lauren, you cannot just stop. We'll lose our house. We will lose everything. I feel like I almost lost everything when that truck hit me. When I was alone in the ambulance, afraid, calling my mother for assistance and being denied. I apologized for that. I contacted Grandpa, and you called him to save your inheritance.
You have never apologized to me, I said. Silence. Mom, you received 10 years of financial assistance from me, and I gave freely, asking nothing in return except to be treated as if I cared, as if I were worth 2.5 hours of your time during a medical emergency. You couldn't even give me that. Lauren, please. We are your parents. You can't simply abandon us. The irony was so deep, I nearly choked on it. You are the one who abandoned me, initially. You abandoned your grandchild. You chose a cruise over your daughter's emergency. Now I'm building mine. How about family loyalty? How about it? Where was your loyalty when I was cut out of a car? Where was your loyalty when your 8-week-old granddaughter needed it? We can work something out. We can attend family therapy. We can. No. The word had a strong sense of power. Final. I'm finished working things out. I'm done being the only one who tries. I'm done paying for love that should be free. I hung up. The calls continued in waves after that. Mom, Dad, Samantha, even some cousins I barely knew. All of them with the same message. I was pulling the family apart. I was being vindictive. I overreacted. No one asked if I was okay. No one asked about Mia. No one accepted that my mother's refusal to assist during a medical emergency was the real issue. I blocked them all. Grandpa came every week. He'd hold Mia and tell her stories about her great-grandmother. He'd ask about my rehabilitation. He'd bring groceries and help around the house. You're doing the right thing, he said one afternoon. It takes bravery to move away from poisonous relationships, especially if they are family. Do you think she'll ever understand? I asked. Honestly, probably not. People like your mother regard themselves as the victim in every story. You'll always be the ungrateful daughter who abandoned her, not the generous child who supported her for years, or the injured mother who needed basic assistance. That's sad. It is. However, it is not your obligation to change her perspective. Your responsibility is to Mia, to yourself, and to create the family you deserve. He was correct. 3 months later, I learned from a mutual friend that my parents had downsized to a smaller condo, sold their car, and purchased something more affordable, and that my mother had taken on a full-time bookkeeping position. They were learning how to live within their means for the first time in 10 years. I felt no delight in their struggles, but also no guilt. 8 months after the accident, Daniel was promoted. We used his bonus to start Mia's college fund. The $4,200 per month I had been sending my parents now went into an account for our daughter. Mia would have just over $850,000 for her studies in 17 years if she continued at her current rate, a sum she would never have to repay. A generous gift presented with love, as is customary for parents. 18 months after the accident, I received a letter. Not from my mother, but from my sister Samantha. I'm writing because I finally understand what you tried to tell me. Mom urged me to start assisting with their finances. She explained that it was only temporary until they could get back on their feet. That escalated into monthly requests for money, then weekly, and finally virtually daily. She has already requested $52,000 this year. I have given her $26,000. My hubby is furious. My marriage is straining. When I informed Mom I couldn't offer any more, she labeled me selfish, ungrateful, just as she used to call you. I understand now. You were not exaggerating. You weren't overly theatrical. You were being utilized. And when you couldn't be used anymore, you were discarded. I am sorry I did not believe you. I am sorry I chose her over you. I understand if you never want to talk to me again, but I wanted you to know you were right about everything. Your sister, Samantha. I reread the letter 3 times. A part of me wanted to feel vindicated, to say, I told you so, to welcome her to the group of daughters who had finally seen through our mother's deceit. But mostly, I felt a deep weariness. I responded with a simple note rather than a long letter. Thank you, Samantha, for being honest. I hope you find the strength to create limits like I did. You deserve better than to be used. I am not ready to rebuild a relationship yet. Maybe eventually, but I appreciate you seeing the truth. Take care of yourself. I didn't hear from her again, and that was fine. Mia is 3 years old now. She's hilarious and fierce, and she knows nothing about the grandmother who labeled her a consequence. She recognizes Grandpa Henry, who comes every Sunday and tells her the same stories he used to read to me. She knows Daniel's parents, who came from Arizona to help with her croup and never complained. She understands that family members are the ones who turn up. We were at the park last week when another mother inquired if Mia's grandparents ever come to visit. Oh yes, I replied, seeing Mia grin as Grandpa pushed her on the swing. Her grandfather comes every week. How about your parents? The woman asked. I smiled. That is my parent, I said. The one who matters. The woman appeared perplexed but didn't press. Here's what I've learned in the 3 years since my car accident. Some people will only value you based on what you can supply. When you stop providing it, they'll reveal who they are. Believe them. Don't squander years attempting to earn love that should have been freely given. Sometimes I think about that $504,000. Money I will never get back. Money that could have impacted my life in dozens of ways. But I also consider what I got from cutting them off. Peace. Self-respect. A distinct sense of my worth. A family founded on true love rather than obligation and guilt. And that is worth more than any dollar amount. My mother still sends Mia a card every year on her birthday. I don't open them. They go immediately into a box in the garage. Mia may one day be interested in learning more about that side of her family. Perhaps she will want to read them. But right now, she has all she needs. Parents who choose her every day. A great-grandfather who adores her. And a future built on love instead of guilt. My name is Lauren Bennett. I am 32 years old. I am a mother, a wife, and a granddaughter. I used to be both a daughter and a sister. However, I'm realizing that DNA alone does not constitute family. Loyalty does. Respect does. Showing up does. 18 months ago, my mother declined to watch my newborn after my car accident because she had cruise tickets. She now works full-time to afford the lifestyle she used to take for granted. My grandfather modified his will to safeguard both his granddaughter, who needed protection, and myself. I'm thriving. We're prospering. Because sometimes the finest payback isn't vengeance at all. It's about creating a beautiful life with people who deserve to be in it.